Finals, 23-year-old Californian Mark Baker. Number 2 position, Bob Handley, going for his 4th tour title. The left-hander, Mike Aulby. He leads all the left-handers on tour this year. Colorful Guppy Troop, going for his 7th PBA title. And qualifying 5th, Jim Murtishaw. It's his first appearance ever in the television finals. Pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Jay Randolph along with the man who has won more titles and more money than anybody else out here, Earl Anthony, the Hall of Famer, with us. Earl, this is a fine fivesome we've got going this afternoon.
Very strong experience field, Jay. It should be very exciting. The scores should be good. Let's get right to the action.
All right, here we go at the Woodland Bowl. Been a great week here in Indianapolis. Jim Murtishaw, the number 5 man, and Guppy Troop, number 4, in this first match. $18,000 going to the winner. And Guppy, he is a vision in color here this afternoon.
And an exciting player, Jay.
All right, a nice way to begin for Guppy Troop, born in Scotland. Murtishaw is just 5'6", 138 pounds, from San Marcos, California. And Earl, an understatement probably to say that he's nervous.
First time out, Jay. I think anybody'd be nervous, but Jim's an experienced player as far as bowling on the tour. Good fundamental sound game.
And he's got them all. So Troop and Murtishaw started off very well here.
A contrast in angles on the lane, Jay. Excuse me, Jim Murtishaw playing an inside angle or trying to catch the ball track farther down the lane by using the center of the lane. Guppy Troop playing an outside angle near the channel, trying to catch the ball track farther down, but going around it in the first part of the lane to the outside.
Opens with a double. And Guppy comes right back. He was 14th going into last night's final 6 games. Guppy opening with a double, Murtishaw with 2. During the PBA Fall Tour here on NBC, True Value gives $50,000, a bonus to any player who bowls a 300 game in the championship round. Next week at the True Value Open, they'll make it $100,000 if it happens. And it went. The 10-pin was a little late.
Big break there for Guppy. Ball coming in behind the head pin. He should have left the 10. He thought he was going to leave the 10. The pin fell off it. Watch the reaction of Guppy as the ball enters the pins. That's a big break, and he knows it puts pressure on Jim. Jim Murtishaw's chance to even up the match right here, Jay.
Murtishaw in his 5th year on the PBA Tour. And the 10 won't go down.
Same exact hit, different angles, different pin reaction. Jim playing the inside of the lane, the ball coming in behind the head pin, much as Guppy's did, but Guppy's got the kick off the wall. Jim didn't. Jim's nervous, and earlier I talked to him a little bit about what it would be like and did he have any advice from his friends when he's going to bowl on television. This is what he had to say.
The advice that my family and friends gave me was to just be relaxed and to enjoy myself, try to have a good time, and that's what I'm going to try and do, and hopefully I'll do well.
Well, Murtishaw is down 11 pins to Guppy Troop here in this opening match.
Early in the match, and he's got a lot of time to make it up. The key for Jim Murtishaw at this point is not to make the major mistake, not to give Guppy that opening. With the experienced player that Guppy is, he might just put him away at that point. So he wants to stay clean, make good shots. Very good, sound, fundamental game. Good arm swing, good approach, solid at the line, good follow through. That's the result of all that right here. Guppy up on the left-hand lane, the lane that's given him the most trouble.
Looked like a good hit, Earl.
Last time on that lane, he left the 8-10. The ball hit weak. He tried to put a little more on the ball and make it finish a little harder into the pin area. And as the ball entered the pins, it cut through, breaks very sharply to the left, takes the head pin back off the wall, doesn't kick forward to get the 4. Easy spare for Guppy, but a bad break at this point in the match.
That's our overhead camera giving you that view. Well, Guppy picks up the spare. Hope you're enjoying the sights and sounds of the PBA Fall Tour. Back with more in a moment.
Hey, you know what my job is? Well, this is my office, a movie set. Yeah, I'm a stuntman, and I depend on my equipment.
That's why Terry Leonard likes a tough Ford Ranger like this one. With a V6 engine, no small V6 tops for power. Tough twin I-beam suspension, a strong ladder-type frame, tough double-box walls, and the widest cab in its class.
That's terrific, Terry.
It's easy for my Ford Ranger and me.
The best-built American trucks are built Ford tough.
One reason why Duracell
Run here last night. George, of course, from Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll be down there December 1st, Earl, for the $150,000 Angle Touring Players Championship.
A new innovation on the tour, the Touring Players Championship. It's an opportunity for the guys that bowl week after week to decide who's the best on the tour at that point.
Murtishaw up by 23.
Yes, sir. Hard to do it better than that.
A 33-pin lead now for Murtishaw as we get a look at this very, very talented young man from out in California.
Perfect backswing, right at the right height, shoulder height, good loft on the ball, delays the roll, gets it into the track area. Perfect entry into the pins. Break point is exactly where he wants it. That's why he's striking.
He told me he plans on competing throughout the rest of the PBA Fall Tour. And a strike in the 8th for Murtishaw. He might be nervous, Earl, but he's looking very, very good.
He sure does. At this point, it's out of the wood for Guppy Troop. All that Jim Murtishaw needs now is just any kind of mark, the last 2 frames, and he's a winner.
Troop is minus 43. A little high, and he's left the 610.
The problem with playing the outside angle on a lane like this where the ball track is so dominant, by the ball track being dominant, I mean around the second arrow, the ball tends to grip the lane very quickly. So the players are playing inside of that area or outside of it. Guppy's playing outside of it, and it's a very critical speed control shot. If his speed isn't perfect, he gets in trouble, and that's his problem right now. He's losing his concentration now, and his speed isn't as good as he'd like it to be.
Guppy has a lot of superstitions, and most of them have to do with his clothes. Maybe we get a shot of those shoes he has. See those shoes? They have a Guppy painted on them, fish painted on them. Some friend of his here in Indianapolis did that for him. So he picks that spare up. There they are.
Well, he even lives in Neptune, Florida. That has the same connotations right there.
I got him down. Oh, a strike in the 9th for Troop. And Murtishaw plus 45. You got to look at this big crowd this afternoon on hand here at the Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's a vibrant city. A lot of growth going on.
Right now, the key for Jim Murtishaw is to maintain what he's got going. He knows he's won this match, but he wants to keep that shot going for the next match. Keep the right speed, keep the right release. Don't lose it. Don't have a letdown mentally. See the push away straight out, right even with the shoulder. Good extension. Perfect balance. He really didn't need that one too badly. All he wants is marks. He's happy with that shot.
Murtishaw could go all the way for a 258. He has the lowest average, 196.5, on the TV pair this week.
Well, the biggest problem we had in this match, as far as Guppy's concerned, was when he thought he had thrown the ball rather well on the left-hand lane and left the 8-10. That was the turning point. At that point, Jim was throwing a lot of strikes. And I think a lot went out of Guppy as far as the way he was feeling at that point. It's a very deflating thing to leave that 8-10 in the middle of the opportunity to win a match. And I think that was a turning point in the match right there, Jay.
That was in the 5th frame.
And it was early. You never know when it's going to be. It could be the 2nd frame. It could be the 8th frame. But for Guppy, it was the 5th frame.
And Murtishaw picks it up. Congratulations from Guppy Troop, as Murtishaw is going to move ahead to challenge Mike Aulby, who finished 3rd in our stepladder finals. So it is Jim Murtishaw advancing to match 2, followed by Mark Williams, the Texan. Tom Baker from Buffalo, New York, and Marshall Holman picked up 1,400. David Ozio from Texas. John Masiello from Buffalo, New York. Mr. Sajak picked
Very
up
talented rookie there, Jay.
Yes.
Ricky is really a tough player.
Paul Gibson from O'Fallon, Illinois. Nick Billard from Windsor, Ontario. Mike Durbin.
Mike Durbin, still in the running for Bowler of the Year, Jay.
Young Norm Duke, you saw him last week when we were down in San Antonio when he was partnered by Mr. Ryan in the doubles. Tom Milton from St. Petersburg. Joe Berardi, bowling well these days. Bob Learn Jr. And there's Steve Wunderlich, talented young man from St. Louis. Doug Hayes, Tennessee, picked up 3,000. Jeff Bellinger, he looked very sharp here.
One of the big boom ball players.
Bobby Knippel. So our 6th place finisher, of course, we showed you earlier, George Pappas. We'll be back with match number 2 from the Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana, in a moment. 2nd championship round appearance this year, the left-hander ready to roll. Aulby starts it off very nicely.
Aulby, one of the finest young left-handers to come on the tour in many a year, and I think based on his abilities over the years, his experience, Jim Murtishaw is in for another tough match.
He averaged 221.4 here this week, 24 years old. Finished 8th here in 1982. Murtishaw. Murtishaw hanging very tough in his first television appearance.
And really rolling the ball well. Good extension on that shot. Ball entered the pins with a lot of hard-hitting roll. And just destroyed the rack, just shredded the rack.
Murtishaw's high previous finish was 7th in this year's Fairlanes Open in Baltimore. He finished 7th in '82 in the PBA U.S. Open in Houston, Texas. And the 10-pin won't go.
First bad break of either match, really, for Jim Murtishaw. At this point, Jim is really trying to maintain his timing. And at this shot, if you watch, he gets the ball out a little farther on the lane than he normally does. A little longer through the head area, in the air. The ball comes in behind the head pin, the weak 10. This is what we've talked about before. Didn't quite get the kick off the wall that he wanted. I think he's satisfied with the shot. He wants to fill the box. Cross lane at the 10-pin.
And he picks it up. Aulby 5'8", 145 pounds, going against Murtishaw, who is 5'6", and 138.
Aulby is really what you might call a contemporary player. By that, I mean he's one of the power players on the tour. a little higher than normal backswing, a lot of revolutions on the bowling ball. He likes to get the ball wide and have it drive into the pocket very hard and get his maximum pin action with all that rotation.
And he leaves the 10.
That's the kind of shot Mike expects to strike with right there. Mike Aulby being one of the more talented players, the only lefty on the telecast, I asked him a little earlier, is that going to be an advantage or a disadvantage for you?
I feel being the only left-hander on the telecast today is more or less an advantage to me because mentally it gives me an uplift being the only left-hander in the finals. Slight disadvantage only because there's no one else to watch and line up off of.
And he picks up the spare. This is a fellow who's done so much in the Indianapolis area for the junior bowling program. And his wife Tammy sitting in today. Good look at this big crowd here at the Woodland Bowl. There's Tammy, lovely lady.
And look at the nervousness, Jay. She's been here before. Mike's made a lot of telecasts in the past. She knows anything can happen in a one-game match.
That's Alby's dad sitting next to his wife there. And he leaves the 7.
Mike's a little tentative right now. I think he's trying to fit the ball a little more than he normally does. He didn't really get out of that ball. The end-over-end roll is not what he normally throws, and that's what that ball is doing. And you can see the deflection and the weak 7 for a different reason than Murtishaw's 10-pin.
Hope you like that look at the pins, our high aerial view, you might say, of the action here. Remind you that our final match here, the championship match, will be uninterrupted. You'll see it from start to finish, and later today, of course, you will see marvelous Marvin Hagler and Mustafa Hamsho. Boxing action coming up later this afternoon on NBC, where there truly is a difference. And the 4-7.
Really, the first shot that's kind of got away from Jim Murtishaw. Again, an emotional level comes down in a hurry. The adrenaline stops flowing after the first match. Now he's got to really start concentrating. Not be tentative, be aggressive. That's normally what happens with the first time on television. The adrenaline's flowing, you get all pumped up, and then you let down a little bit. He can't afford to ease up on the speed. He's got to keep the ball firm. Good spare shooter, Jim Murtishaw. That was really one of the keys to him making the telecast, the fact that he's one of the best spare shooters on the tour.
Murtishaw down 1. 246 score to knock Guppy Troop out of this competition in game 1.
Doing quite well, really, for his first telecast. And I relate back to his fundamentals. The fundamentals that Jim Murtishaw have are the key to his being here this week. One of the best games on the tour, getting to the foul line. Very solid player. That one got away from him.
Yeah, you could see that one lofted it a little bit and just left it way right.
The reason that ball went that way, I feel, is that he got there a little fast with his feet. He was ahead of the ball. He tried to pull it to catch up. He's a little quicker with his feet. He gets to the foul line early. He almost lost his balance, pulled the ball through. The ball went through the track area, never finished. Difficult spare here. 1-2-4-8. Wants the ball to cross to the left side of the head pin, just like that.
All right, he picked it up. Excellent job. Aulby is up by 5. We'll be back with more of this 9-5, 7,000. Yes, sir. Aulby has won better than $51,000 this year on tour. That ranks him 18th, but tops among the left-handers, and he's up by 5.
Chance to make it 15 with the next shot. I think that Mike picked up his speed a little bit there. He's starting to loosen up a little bit. Jim Murtishaw didn't come out of the gate with that 3 or 4 in a row like he did against Guppy Troop, so I think Mike's relaxing a little bit. He hasn't been on television for a while. Takes a little time to get acclimated out there. A little off balance with that shot. What he got?
Well, he might have been a little off balance, but he got it there.
He got it there. That's what counts.
He made a big jump after the first round from 68th all the way to 3rd after the 6th round.
Watch the swing coming through from the inside, down through the target. He's playing between the first and second arrow on the left-hand side of the lane. He knows it's a good shot. I thought he was off balance. Mike liked it. That's what counts.
Murtishaw now down by 15. Kicker for Murtishaw, who has been very consistent all week long.
The kind of pin action you really, really need to stay in a match. You need that kind of a break. It's light. The ball hit light in the pocket. Head pin went to the wall, kicked out to 7. Good break for Jim Murtishaw. Gives him a chance to get back in the match.
Murtishaw down by 15. His best 84 finish has been a 7th place. He betters that here. And he leaves the 4-7.
I think Jim liked that shot. It looked like a good shot to me. He got to the foul line well. He projected the ball well. The ball just finished a little stronger than he expected. What we call a fast 8. Good balance, good release. Ball goes well down the lane, breaks very sharply on the back, and leaves the 4-7. Easy spare for Jim, cross lane.
Aulby up by 15. Bowling in the 6th, and this the 2nd match.
The problem that Mike Aulby has had throughout the week is that when he would miss the pocket, it would normally be an open. The ball breaking so sharply on the back for him that he would leave some very unusual spares.
Second re-rack here, Earl.
He's in a key situation. He's on a double. He has a chance to extend his lead. Even though it's only the 6th frame, he wants to make sure the pins are on spot. The players are allowed 3 re-racks without any problem at any time in the game, but then they need permission from the tournament director. And the home crowd goes for that one. Big break for Mike, bad break for Murtishaw. The ball is farther out on the lane than Mike wanted it to be. He got it down the lane a long ways, but look at the rotation on the ball. As it breaks very sharply, comes in behind the head pin, off the wall, kicks out the 9 very late. Big, big strike.
25-pin lead. Alby's had some problems, physical problems with his right foot, and also some stomach problems.
Good break, the other kind of break. Mike's got 2 good breaks in a row. The light hit to carry the strike, and now he set the ball very short on the lane this time. Trying to probably in his mind make the adjustment for the light hit from the previous shot. Set the ball down early. The ball broke sharply through the middle of the head pin. Got the good break, left only the 2-4. But not an easy spare for a left-hander. He'll go cross lane at this spare. It's easy to pick the 2 off, leave the 4, and he doesn't want to get it wide. It may not get back.
Well, he comes up with it. He made a big move towards the top in match play when he defeated Bob Learn 290 to 213 in the 5th round. Murtishaw down by 20. Tremendous job for you fans around the nation, bringing you the top events each weekend. Along with Earl Anthony, Jay Randolph, here is Murtishaw down 23, leaves the 10.
And a good shot, especially at this point. He knows he needs some strikes to get back in the match. Bad break for Jim. The ball was right there. I just can't understand why he didn't strike. He got the ball well out over the foul line. Good lift and follow through. Entered the pins at a good angle. Right around the neck. Bad break.
Murtishaw out of high school. Worked in a bowling center as a lane mechanic in San Diego. Did a lot of surfing. He's a good athlete. Murtishaw down 24. We're in the 8th here at the Woodland Bowl, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Match isn't over, Jay. At this point, we have 3 frames to bowl. Both players have 3 frames left. And as I mentioned earlier, Aulby with his big hook had his tendency all week long to leave some very difficult spares. And as the pressure increases, anything can happen.
We got a break there. It looked for a moment like he was going to have the 7-10 staring him in the face.
He rolled the ball well. He just got a little more speed on that ball. Again, when it goes way down the lane like that and comes in behind the head pin, the chances for getting the 10 pin out are very slim.
Murtishaw is the only non-winner among the 5 finalists. There's a break in concentration for him.
It is, and it's an emotional letdown more than anything, I think, at this point. He kind of lost his concentration after the first match. The adrenaline was flowing really strong the first match. First time on television. He's a young man with not a lot of experience. And he's bowling against a very experienced player twice in a row in Guppy Troop and Mike Aulby.
Well, they're rooting for the hometowner here, and he comes through. 36-pin lead for Aulby. He's in good shape.
He's got the shot that really counts at this point. He went to the foul line well, good extension, made a good shot. Now what Mike Aulby is thinking at this point is, I've got this match won. Now I want to work on these lanes, make sure that I'm lined up properly, make sure my game feels right, get in his mind that he's comfortable with this pair of lanes. So when he bowls against Bob Handley in the next match, he's prepared.
He liked it. Well, this one is going to Aulby as Murtishaw finds himself now down 46 in the ninth.
But I think an outstanding showing by a young man on his first television appearance. He bowled extremely well in the first match against a very experienced player in Guppy Troop. Started well in this match. Mike Aulby just came on very strong at the end. And he leaves a 6-7-10. I think you might go for this one, Jay, just to give us all a little thrill, show you that...
Might as well have a little fun, right?
Sure, show you he's one of the best spare shooters on the tour. And he is. Difficult spare. He'll go cross lane, try to make the 6-pin slide into the 7 as the ball takes out the 10. Looks good.
Oh, he just missed it. Gave it a good go.
Gave it a good try. Outstanding week for young Jim Murtishaw. He had a good week all week long. He was in contention all week.
Bob Handley will be meeting Aulby. Hanley, who qualified second here.
Getting into the big boom ball players now, Jay. When you get into the tournament leader Mark Baker and Bob Handley, the powerful players on the tour.
This has been a week when the hookers and the crankers have been in good shape here.
That's right.
All right, we'll be back with more from the Woodland
player. Tell us what it's like to be on the road that long. Have you enjoyed it?
Well, I've enjoyed it since the first tournament I bowled. It's been great. The nice thing about it is when you're bowling well and winning, I don't think there's any greater high than winning a tournament in your chosen profession. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, the traveling sometimes gets a little tough, especially when you've been doing it for 15 years. And when you go into a slump, it sort of gets you to thinking. But overall, all things considered, if I had it to do over again, I would not have changed the decision I made to go out on tour.
Well, that's great. Well, you've set, like I mentioned, you've been on the tour for 15 years. You must have had some goals. You think you've achieved all the goals you wanted to achieve?
I've achieved most of the goals that I've set, and when you do achieve goals, naturally you set higher goals. The last one that I achieved was when I won 10 tournaments. That was a goal that I'd set many years ago, and I won the 10th tournament in Buffalo, and now I've set another goal and going to strive to achieving that.
What is that goal? Come on, George, tell us what it is.
Well, I want to win a few more tournaments, but I'm not going to publicize the number until after I accomplish the goal.
Well, again, after 15 years, you've gone into another phase of the business. You're a bowling proprietor now. you're going to be hosting your Touring Players Championship. Tell us a little bit about the tournament, what you expect there.
Well, we're real excited at Charlotte. I'm excited. It's the first tournament that I've been involved in hosting, and the local people in Charlotte are real excited about it, and we're just looking forward to giving the touring players a nice lane condition and a nice surface to play on, and hopefully it'll be a great tournament.
Great, George. We appreciate you being with us today, and good luck in that tournament. When you see Bob Handley throw the bowling ball, you'll know exactly what it is. He crosses more boards than anybody on the tour.
Aulby 247 to 169 as he went all the way. And a nice start for Mike Aulby.
Bob Handley is the type of player that if he is on, he's almost unbeatable. Tremendous power in his release, very unusual position of the ball, tremendous wrist rotation at the point of release, and the ball crosses more boards than anybody. Watch it hook back. Tremendous power.
Well, you described it perfectly, and the folks at home could see it as Aulby and Hanley open up with strikes. Bob, 32 years old, Pompano Beach, Florida, and here's a look.
Tremendous lift around the side of the ball, through the center. The ball breaks back very sharply. Folks, that isn't turn. That's all roll. That's all power.
Earl, a rather unusual way of presenting the ball. Get things started.
He's had some wrist problems because of that, but today he's healthy. He's throwing the ball extremely well. Bob, one of those type of players, like I mentioned, when he's on, he's almost unbeatable. When he's off, he can have some really terrible scores. Elbow to the inside. The reason for opening his wrist in that position is so his elbow stays inside of the ball until he gets to the foul line. He can lift through the center of the ball when it's past his sliding foot and get all that power. Just destroys the pins.
Wondering, does that create a lot of pressure on the elbow?
Not on the elbow so much as the wrist, Jay. And most of the bowlers, when they do have an injury, it's a wrist problem. In contrast, the style of Mike Aulby, very smooth. Gets a lot of power on the shot, but not the power that Bob Handley gets. Very few players can do that, Jay.
And he's getting a re-rack here. Had his worst year as a pro last season when he earned just $28,000 and finished out of the top 50. Aulby opens with a double.
One of the advantages a left-hander will have on television is that the lanes won't change as much for him. There's very little play on the left side, especially when you're the only left-hander. So as Mike and I talked earlier, and we mentioned earlier, the lanes won't change for him as much as they will for Bob Handley or as far as Baker when he comes into the last match. There will be a big change in how the ball reacts for those two players. Mike is lined up. He should be able to stay there. If he maintains his speed control, he'll be in good shape. A little short with that. Big break from what I'm sure Mike feels was a terrible shot. He lost the ball off his hand at the foul line. Didn't get the turn on the ball he wanted. It was into a re-and roll. Tammy's happy. Big break. Very big break at this point.
They call him Hookin' Hanley or Boomin' Bob. In fact, he's got more nicknames than you can imagine. He is down 20 at the moment. Mark Baker qualified first, had a fantastic week here, and he's waiting in the wings to go for the first prize, $18,000. The 10-pin went down, but the 7 is standing. Hanley has been in a slump since April. He told me he's come out of it, taken a little time off. Good look at Mike Aulby, the favorite here. Of course, the local man from Indianapolis. And Hanley with a 224 average this week. the 7. And Hanley is down. Caps. Sports World coming up. Hagler and Hampshire. Boxing action later this afternoon. Right now it's the bowling from here in Indianapolis. Hanley down by 20. Aulby with the highest money winnings of any of the left-handers on the tour this year. In his victory in match 2. That's his dad right there, Mr. Jim Aulby. They were predicting the score and turned out to be right.
Aulby looks really in control right now. He's keeping his swing very loose, his footwork very steady, getting the ball well out over the foul line. He got one good break on this lane. The tendency at this point, when you get a break on a lane, is to try to be a little more aggressive. We'll see what he does. And he did.
Well, about this point in the proceedings, I should remind everybody that True Value will pass out $50,000 for a 300 game here. Hanley down 40 in the 5th.
But the match a long way from over. This is one of the most powerful strike balls, not only on the tour, but anywhere. He can throw strikes forever.
And it got there. Came from nowhere.
He brings it in from right field or left field or wherever you want to put it out there, but he can bring it in from anywhere. Hanley bigger than he looks like, much stronger than he looks. A lot of muscle and strength in those arms and shoulders. Tremendous revolution on the ball. Goes way down the lane, breaks in behind the head pin, and just keeps going. Almost ran over the 8 pin. It was finished so hard.
Hanley down 40.
Aulby knows what Hanley is capable of. He can't afford to let up. Like that.
Hanley coming off the spare in the 4th. Comes back with 2 strikes.
The stalking tiger right here. Very deliberate approach. Tremendous lift off the side of the ball.
And you can get an idea where that ball had to come from. The consummate professional, Larry Lobb, handling our statistics here. In the booth, Frank Ellenberg and Joe Berardi working with us on the trophy. Aulby, yes! That's half a dozen, cousin.
That's half a dozen. That's the easy half, Jay. The tough half are coming up.
You're right there.
If there's such a thing as an easy half.
Aulby up by 40, patting that bowling ball. Last victory was the Canadian Open in 1981. Well, they give him a big round of applause. Popular favorite here, of course, in his hometown.
Good shot by Mike Aulby, just not quite the break he got there. The previous shot, when he did trip out the 6, easy spare for him. He'll go cross lane. Again, the match is a long ways from over.
Aulby with the spare in the 7th. 39-pin lead. And we'll be right back after these messages. It is Hanley down 39 pins.
Oh, good break for Bob right there. Ball cut through, and with the power that Bob Handley has, the rotation of the ball, I was surprised he tripped the 4. The ball was cutting through so hard. So that's why I say it was a good break.
Hanley down 29. You see that string of strikes by Aulby.
The strike here, it's anybody's match. And if I wanted somebody to throw a strike for me, this is the man I'd look for, right here.
And he does just that. His former high school teacher from Kansas, recently married ladies professional bowler Mary Ellen Majors.
The rotation, the release, just tremendous power. The ball goes way out near the channel, comes all the way back. 10 pins straight back. You can't do it any better than that, Jay.
Bob Levy and his crew providing these marvelous pictures for you from Indianapolis.
Good shot there. Mike, when you're giving an idea of when the ball is rolling properly, as it enters the pins, if you're leaving the 6 pin, if you're left-handed, if you're leaving the 8 pin, the ball is entering the pins at the proper angle. If he were leaving the 7 pin, he would be upset because he would know then he wasn't rolling the ball properly. As you can see, the ball entered the pins properly, he tripped the 6, just didn't get the 8. Not a good break, that's all.
And he converts it. Up by 18 is Aulby. Well, Earl, you're doing a splendid job, of course, in bringing us your expertise, and certainly as the greatest left-hander that ever rolled him down, you can relate to what Aulby is up to this afternoon.
And I can relate to what he's thinking right now, I think, a little too, Jay, in that he started with 6 in a row, put a lot of pressure on his opponent, Bob Handley, but Handley now has 4 in a row. He's coming back. Mike knows that he can't afford to keep sparing. He needs to be aggressive, get strikes.
And he did it. Again, I want to mention that he came all the way from 68 in the first round to finish 3rd. Aulby with a possible 268, Hanley down 18.
Right now, Bob getting his hand on the ball, getting set. He's a very aggressive player. All he wants to do is throw a strike here. He knows then that the pressure's right back on Aulby's shoulders. He likes it.
Oh, a little high, and he has got a problem.
Bob thought he turned that one early by his expression and by his reaction. He thinks he got his elbow and his arm out a little early in the shot. Let's look at it. Gets to the foul line. He did hit it a little early. The ball got down in the lane a little sooner. Breaks very sharply on the back. And that's from just a little bit lack of speed. Not quite the same speed. Not as firm as the previous shots. Tough spare. Cross lane.
Oh, he converts it. Marvelous shot.
Outstanding. Point to be made there, Jay, is that even though Bob Handley is known for his strike power, he's also a great spare shooter. The ball goes out near the channel, starts to hook back, gets the 3 pin straight across into the 4-7. Ball takes out the 6-10. Great shot.
And Hanley hanging in here. Down 23. The winner of this match will meet big Mark Baker, the 23-year-old Californian.
Hanley must have this strike to stay in match. To have any chance to win at all, he has to have this one. He can strike out for 235. He knows that.
And that's going to do it for Hanley.
And the look of disgust or disappointment, whichever way you want to look at it, and the relief of Mike Aulby. He knows it's over. Again, Mike will use the remainder of the match now that he's won it to get lined up for the next one, to make sure he is throwing the ball with the speed and rotation he wants.
So Aulby defeats Hanley, and the left-hander will get his shot at Mark Baker, who really had a tremendous week. As you mentioned, Earl, trying to get the feel and stay high for the championship match. be Aulby against Mark Baker. One of our features on the PBA Fall Tour for NBC is the 7 steps to better bowling. Earl Anthony takes you through step number 2.
For bowling, we discussed how to get from the foul line as far as establishing a proper distance and also how to take a proper stance. Holding the ball correctly in relationship to your shoulder. Now we're going to talk about how to put your hand in the ball properly. Putting your fingers to the proper depth and laying your thumb in the thumb hole so that it goes out just as easily as it went in, such as this. Fingers go into the proper depth, the thumb lays in the hole, and you should be able to take it out just as easily as it went in if the ball is fit to your hand properly. Once we've established the proper grip, we're ready to bowl. Remember always to push the ball out with your first step in the 4-step approach. To summarize, remember, always put your fingers in first to the proper depth, lay your thumb in a thumb hole so you can get a consistent release, and always push the ball out with your first step in the 4-step approach. Now, next week, we'll talk about how to get to the foul line consistently and properly with a good slide and a good follow-through.
That's one of our exclusives of the coverage of this PBA Fall Tour for you. Here's Mark Baker. And a split right off the bat. My goodness, the 7-10.
Bad break for Mark. Good break for Mike. Lots of extra speed on the first shot. A little nervous like everybody. Comes in way late in the pocket. He does get the 5 out into the 6. Nothing touches the 7 or the 10. He'll take 1. Cross lane. Try to get it to bounce. Not quite.
So Baker is open right off the bat. In his career, and this is just his 3rd year, he's won nearly $150,000. Aulby 19 of 24 in the strike department. His 268, the highest score today. Leaves the 7-pin. So both gentlemen.
Both players a little tentative in the championship match, Jay. Even though Mike's already won 2 matches today, he's bowling for the championship now, and he doesn't want to give back that open that Mark Baker gave him. Just get me a mark in the first frame. He's thinking any kind of a mark. Sure, I'd love to strike, but any mark gets me ahead in the match.
$18,000 first prize. Albie picks it up. Earl, interesting to note that these 2 men in the championship match, Aulby the left-hander and Baker, who finished first, had the best average. Aulby at 232, Baker at 235 on the TV pair during the tournament.
I'll tell you, Jay, a lot of times when you look at that type of an average throughout the tournament on the television pair, it has very little bearing on the championship match or even on the televised portion of the tournament because the lanes will change day to day. Obviously, they haven't changed for these 2 players. They're still bowling well.
Aulby gets them all.
Tremendous strike ball by Mike Aulby. Unbelievable players. The talent, the ability of these guys under pressure is just great. Mark seems to be having a little problem with the approach. He stuck a little bit foul line that time, lost his balance. Kind of just let go of the ball. When he gets to the foul line, I think his heel came down a little early. Look at the determination on his face, but watch him at the foul line. Sticks a little bit, he's off balance. The ball came off his hand a little quicker than he wanted to. He didn't get the finish on the ball he wanted. Cross lane at the 10-pin, and it's hooking. Oh, trouble early for Mark Baker. 2 opens in a row, Jay.
Well, at this point, let me remind all of you to join us next week when we will be live from Fairview Park, Ohio, Cleveland suburb at 3 Eastern Time for the $135,000 True Value Open. And we'll have $100,000 on the line for a 300 game. He leaves the 10.
Mark's going to have to make some adjustments, or it's going to be out of the wood in a hurry for him here, because I know Mike Aulby. I've seen him play. He is not going to let him get back in this match. He's going to have to earn his way back. See the ball deflect? Come in behind the head pin. His normal ball would have rolled between the 8 and 9. That ball rolled directly over the 9 pin.
Well, he's rather pleased that he got that one. We've had some very, very fine bowling this week, of course. 300 games for Mark Roth, Wayne Webb, Norm Duke, John Masiello, and Randy Johnson. Roth cashed here. He's just 10,000 away from becoming the second millionaire in PBA history. Aulby is in very good shape, and the folks here, his hometown folks, along with wife Tammy, rooting him on. Up by 32.
Fundamentally sound Mike Aulby, one of the finer players on the tour, especially on the left side of the lane. Likes the shot, likes the way the ball reacts. He knows he has a chance to really get Mark Baker in trouble early in the match. Mark, starting with 2 opens, really got himself in trouble, Jay, but Mike can really make it hurt right now. He can go for his 3rd strike in a row and a 42-pin lead if he gets it.
Aulby up by 42. That's his dad, Jim.
You'd think he was behind.
Well, he well knows that it's far from over. Tammy seated alongside there. And Baker, who he almost left that 7-10 again. He's got his hands full here.
Mark basically playing the same line he's played all week, laying the ball down inside the ball track, going through that area, which he's laying the ball down, in other words, around the 13 or 14 board, going through the area around the 2nd arrow to the right, getting it out to about the 5 board and trying to bring it back for the strike. It seems that his speed isn't as good as he'd like it to be. His speed control, that is, and the ball's breaking a little later than he wants it to, Jay, or otherwise he'd be throwing strikes with those hits.
Baker down 43. He needs a win to requalify for Firestone. The last 2 years here, he did not cash at this event. 43-pin lead for Aulby. Baker vitally needs them all here. He spun around and they all went down.
That's the first shot he's made exactly the way he wanted to. He tightened up the line a little bit, Jay. Didn't loop the ball quite as much. He knew it was good when he let go, and you'll see that by the reaction. I know it's good. Give me a break. There they go.
They call him Bakes. And he's a very popular young man out here on tour. Aulby plus 43. Left the 7-pin. You know, Earl, if Aulby would win here, it'd be the 2nd week in a row that we've had a local favorite come through. Louis Blancardi, the veteran, winning down in San Antonio last Saturday afternoon. And Aulby, of course, defeated Earl Anthony for his first PBA title in the '79 Nationals.
Well, I have to break all these kids in, right? You know, let them win one so they feel comfortable out here, Jay.
Well, there are a lot of them that beat you, but you beat a lot of them, I'll tell you. Aulby picks it up. Aulby averaging 257.5 through his first 2 matches. We're showing you as a special feature of NBC's coverage of the PBA Fall Tour each and every frame of the championship match without any commercial breaks.
And bowling every frame, Jay, is really important to these guys because there's no commercial breaks. There's no lack of or loss of concentration. They can keep it going, especially in the championship match.
think it's important to our viewers at home.
That's right.
Baker now down 42, bowling in the 6th.
42 pins with 5 frames to play is not a lot of pins. Believe me, it can go in a hurry. That's how it goes right there. When your opponent starts throwing strikes, it makes it a little tougher for you to get them.
Getting a re-rack in the Showboat PBA Doubles Classic in Las Vegas. Mark and his teammate Joe Berardi finished 5th. Joe, as we mentioned, working with us today.
Really hit that one hard. Really hit it hard.
And they all go down in. Baker battling back here.
Getting very aggressive now, Jay. He knows he's got to get it back. See that right there, that clenched fist? Mark's getting pumped up.
Aulby in the 7th.
Alby's
up
in a
by
match.
22.
He is definitely in a match right here.
18,000 to the winner. 9,500 to the 2nd place finisher.
Key for Mike at this point is to stay solid at the foul line, get the ball down the lane.
Looked like a good hit.
Those are the kind of breaks that can really change the way you feel on the lanes, how you feel and how you think. Good break for Mark. Terrible break for Mike Aulby. He threw the ball as well as he could possibly throw it at this situation. Solid 9-pin. Could be the difference in the match. Remember this shot right here when the match is over. Let's see if it makes a difference. Mike knew he threw it well. Bad break. Easy spare for him. Shouldn't have any problem there.
.22 pins is the lead right now for Aulby.
Still anybody's tournament at this point, Jay. Anybody can win. Both players know that, too. They're thinking about it. They know the score in their head.
Baker told me that he handles these pressure situations, that the crowd doesn't bother him very much because of his competition over the years in basketball. Oh, Aulby with a very big strike. 25 of 32 today. And Baker down 22. Going for a 4-bagger. Yes, sir. He got it.
Folks, I'm getting nervous just watching this. They're coming down to the last few frames. 2 tremendously talented athletes. Both bowling extremely well at this point. Anything can happen. 12-pin difference.
He's asking for a re-rack. You make the point that these are outstanding athletes, and truly they are. So many of these fellows are very talented in other sports. Right now, though, they're bowling for an $18,000 first prize. Here's Baker. There is that 7-10 split for a moment. The 7 went down. That's 3 times, Earl, that he has thrown a ball like that where it looked like the 7-10 was going to be a problem. It happened to him once.
And he liked the shot, Jay. He went to the foul line well. He got the ball down the lane. A little more speed on this shot. It comes in behind the head pin. Watch the reaction of the 5-pin as it goes to the wall. Actually went behind the 7. And he kicked the 7 out with the 2-pin of all pins. Very unusual reaction to pin.
And he's shaking his head, and he's a little concerned and a little confused, down 13. Big mark. Here's the local favorite, the man from Indianapolis. Mark Baker looks on. leaves the 7th.
An almost disaster. The pin action. Mike last time on this lane threw the ball extremely well, left a solid 9. This time he gives it a little more room. The ball comes in, kicks the head pin off the wall. It comes back. He has the 5-7-10 momentarily. Fortunately, he get off the 5-10. Still a difficult spare at this point. The 7-pin going cross lane. He makes it, he's up by 13. If he misses it, it's anybody's game, Jay.
Nice and smooth.
He doesn't miss very many of them, Jay.
Well, as you look at the score, Aulby is plus 13. He is struck every time in this game on lane 59. Baker, he's had every ball in the pocket, but some tough breaks. And here is Aulby in the 10th on lane 59, up by 13. Possible 229 and $18,000.
Pin count gets really important here, Jay. Now we're into something that's really exciting. The pin count is going to make the difference. Aulby with an 11-pin lead needs the spare strike to win the tournament. Spare strike to win the tournament. Watch the ball break very sharply, almost through the center of the head pin. He got a good break, kicked out the 4-7, left only the 6-10. An easy spare for Mike Aulby, but he still has to concentrate on it. This is for the championship.
Now, yes, indeed.
Now we're down to what it's all about, Jay. One ball right here by Mike Aulby. He can either win it or give Mark Baker a chance to win the tournament. If he strikes, he's a winner. 9, we could have a tie. Baker knows it.
If Mike can get them all, he'll win it all. So here we go. Leaves the 2-4-7.
All right, Mark Baker with an opportunity to win the tournament with 2 strikes and 9. He'll be the winner, but he must strike on this ball. Must have this strike. Deep breath.
Well, he was not ready. He's going to step back and take another view. Earl, you've been in this situation many times, and
there's
obviously something he wasn't ready.
That's right, but there's the position I don't want to be in, sitting on the bench, and I could lose. I'd rather be in Mark's position, a chance to win.
Well, he doesn't do it. And for the second week in a row here on the PBA Tour, the local man has come through. It was Biancardi in San Antonio last week, and Aulby has done it here this week. A big win for Mike Aulby, the winner of this '84 Indianapolis Open, his 5th career title, $18,000.